The Ukrainian government did not donate food to Nigeria. They gave grain to the United Nations World Food Program and got paid for it. The World Food Program would not get involved unless our government requested it. And it is a quick fix for the situation of the massive increase in food prices in the north of our country. Many countries do this when situations like this happen. Like how local governments in the UK, who since 2013 have had to regularly request help from the Red Cross to feed their citizens who are not able to buy food because it is too expensive.
Now, for the first time since World War II, one charity has asked the British Red Cross to help collect food for people struggling in the UK.
It's entirely appropriate for us to take a look at how needs are changing and how we should respond to that as an organisation. What we are seeing in the work that we do day to day is that people are vulnerable as a result of not being supported at critical moments in their lives.
Ukraine is the number 7 exporter of wheat grains in the world. Ukraine needs to show the world that they are still capable of being a trading partner, despite the war. Ukraine created the Grain from Ukraine charity program to get their farmers paid by foreign governments as suppliers of food aid to replace Russia as the primary buyer of their wheat. The World Food Program then used grain from Ukraine as a supplier because it was quick and easy to organize. Ukraine have used the situation in Nigeria as an opportunity to get a guaranteed buyer for their grain, the World Food Program, promote themselves to everyone else as still being a capable country, and try again to get Nigeria to support them politically against Russia. The problem for Nigeria in this is that when the Ukrainian ambassador to Nigeria, Ivan Holostenko, said, Ukraine is and remains a friend and a reliable partner of the Nigerian people. The local country director of the UN World Food Program, David Stevenson, was saying, as part of WFP's ongoing humanitarian operations, the wheat donation will be combined with cash and other commodities to meet the basic food and nutrition needs of crisis-affected women, men, and children for a 2-month period. But Ambassador Holostenko never called the grain delivery a donation. He thanked the World Food Program for the opportunity to get their farmers paid and assured Nigeria that Ukraine is their partner. Stevenson, the World Food Program representative, dressed in our own traditional clothing to demonstrate his sincerity, reframed this as, Ukraine is part of a movement to alleviate suffering and maintain human dignity in areas facing conflict and food price increase. And unfortunately, many Nigerian press organizations repeated Stevenson's narrative that the World Food Program is helping Nigeria. And these organizations are therefore supporting the implication that Nigeria is not capable. Peter Obi, the ex-presidential candidate, reacted to this on X, Twitter, by declaring that the donation by Ukraine is a national disgrace for Nigeria and is caused by years of leadership failure, necessitating urgent reflection and a reordering of our national priorities, resource management and allocation. Mr. Obi clearly made this statement to challenge the policies of the current administration of our government. But it would have been better if he had waited for his team to investigate this situation properly before posting his uncaveated comments. Because many Nigerian press outlets repeated his words and started treating a donation from Ukraine as a significant event. So, Alhaji Mohammed Idris, the Minister of Information and National Orientation, at the Leadership Annual Conference and Award 2023 on Tuesday, the 5th of March, said,
"Let me say that it is not all bad news all the time. Yes, it may be true that Nigeria has accepted grains from Ukraine, but that is not on its own a very bad story. Egypt takes in about 60% of its grain production from Ukraine. And I know that our elder statesman here, Mr. Peter Obi, is also understanding the Egyptian economy. The fact that 60% of the grain production in Egypt is coming from Ukraine does not make Egypt a failed state. Second, the fact that we are also having a lot of challenges of the moment does not also mean that Nigeria has actually failed. I'm glad when the guest speaker said that the issues of the moment didn't just start today. It started over a period of time. So all of us have a share of the blame. And Mr. President is not shying away from that. Mr. President is saying that we will tackle this.
Ukraine is scrambling to partner with anyone it can to survive. Selling Ukrainian grain through a special purpose charity supply company that is funded by foreign governments enables foreign governments to inject foreign currency into Ukraine, so Ukraine can buy foreign weapons. But those governments can now pretend that they are not funding the war because they are helping Ukraine provide food aid donations to the countries who need it the most. To make this pretense believable, they need Nigeria and other countries to accept and repeat the idea that Ukraine is donating grain to less fortunate countries that are facing food crisis. For this lie to work, the World Food Programme must declare that it and its donors are better and more capable than Nigeria. Every time we repeat a foreign framing of how they are helping our country, it supports the foreign narrative of our incapability compared to them. It validates how they want the world to see us. And everyone, not just Nigerians, starts believing it. The purpose behind this narrative is to make the charity donation acceptable to the citizens of the countries that are funding grain from Ukraine, so those people won't call their governments out for funding a foreign war. Nigeria is being used as a scapegoat for the very specific political purpose of enabling these foreign governments to spend their citizens' money without being called to account for it. And if you look at their economies, this is money that these countries don't have. So they are hiding what they are doing at Nigeria's expense. Nigerians are repeating this false narrative in our press and online gossip at the cost of Nigeria's reputation. They need us to repeat this story. Their lie won't work unless we also say that temporary food assistance is a donation from countries that are richer and more capable than us. As Minister Idris said, accepting grains from Ukraine does not make Nigeria or Egypt failed countries, because Ukraine will sell its grain to anyone they can at the moment. They need the money. Our politicians are trying to use the actions of foreign organizations to score political points over the price inflation situation in our country without considering the context. They are just about considering the context of Nigeria, but are not considering at all the international context of the facts they complain about. We Nigerians, all of us, not just our politicians, need to see and recognize that foreign organizations frame events in our country to serve their purposes and not to support Nigeria at all. Every repetition by us of their framing of events as helping us, validates the idea of our incapability, ensuring that everyone, not just Nigerians, has that idea in their minds. And Nigeria and Nigerians get to be a convenient scapegoat to solve foreign problems that have nothing to do with us. Again, our government is actually doing things to solve our economic situation. But none of the real solutions will be quick, because the root causes happened many years ago. And it has taken years for our problems to get to the scale they are today. So, let us accept temporary assistance when we need it, just like they do. But let's not be played for fools into supporting foreign lies that denigrate us, to fund wars that have nothing to do with us.